मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, नमस्कार। आज का बजट ऐतिहासिक है। इसमें देश की नारी शक्ति का सशक्त प्रतिबिंब झलकता है। महिला वित्त मंत्री के रूप में निर्मला जी ने लगातार 9वीं बार देश का बजट प्रस्तुत करके नया रिकॉर्ड बनाया है। ये बजट अपार अवसरों का राजमार्ग है। ये बजट वर्तमान के सपनों को साकार करता है और भारत के उज्जवल भविष्य की नींव को सशक्त करता है। ये बजट 2047 के विकसित भारत की हमारी ऊंची उड़ान का मजबूत आधार है। साथियों, आज भारत जिस रिफॉर्म एक्सप्रेस पर सवार है, इस बजट से उसे नई ऊर्जा, नई गति मिलेगी। जो पाथ ब्रेकिंग रिफॉर्म्स किए गए हैं, वो एस्पिरेशन से भरे हुए भारत के साहसिक, टैलेंटेड युवाओं को उड़ने के लिए खुला आसमान देते हैं। ये बजट ट्रस्ट बेस्ड गवर्नेंस और ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक अर्थरचना के विजन को साकार करता है। एक ऐसा यूनिक बजट है जिसमें फिस्कल डेफिसिट कम करने, इन्फ्लेशन कंट्रोल करने पर फोकस है और इसके साथ ही बजट में हाई कैपेक्स और हाई ग्रोथ का भी समन्वय है। साथियों, ये बजट भारत की वैश्विक भूमिका को नए सिरे से सशक्त करता है। भारत के 140 करोड़ नागरिक फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी बनकर ही संतुष्ट नहीं है। हम जल्द से जल्द दुनिया की तीसरी सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बनना चाहते हैं। ये करोड़ों देशवासियों का संकल्प है। दुनिया के एक ट्रस्टेड डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टनर और ट्रस्टेड क्वालिटी सप्लायर के रूप में भारत की भूमिका लगातार बढ़ रही है। हाल में जो बड़ी बड़ी ट्रेड डील्स भारत ने की है, मदर ऑफ ऑल डील्स, उसका मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट भारत के युवाओं को मिले, भारत के लघु और मध्यम उद्योग वालों को मिले। इस दिशा में बजट में बड़े बड़े कदम उठाए गए हैं। साथियों, इस बजट में मेक इन इंडिया और आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान को नई रफ्तार के लिए महत्वाकांक्षी रोड मैप प्रस्तुत किया गया है। इस बजट में नई उभरती इंडस्ट्रीज यानी सनराइज सेक्टर्स को जिस मजबूती के साथ समर्थन दिया गया है, वह अभूतपूर्व है। बायोफार्मा शक्ति मिशन, सेमीकंडक्टर मिशन 2.0, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्कीम, रेयर अर्थ कॉरिडोर का निर्माण, क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स पर बल, टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर में नई स्कीम, हाईटेक टूल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को बढ़ावा, चैंपियन एमएसएमईज तैयार करना, ये फ्यूचरिस्टिक है, देश की वर्तमान और भविष्य की आवश्यकताओं का ध्यान रखती है। एमएसएमईज को, हमारे लघु और कुटीर उद्योगों को जो समर्थन इस बजट में मिला है, वह उन्हें लोकल से ग्लोबल बनने की नई ताकत देगा। साथियों, बजट में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को मजबूत करने के लिए कई बड़े कदम उठाए गए हैं। डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर, देश भर में वाटरवेज का विस्तार, हाई स्पीड रेल कॉरिडोर, टियर 2 और टियर 3 शहरों के विकास पर विशेष ध्यान और शहरों को मजबूत आर्थिक आधार देने के लिए म्युनिसिपल बॉन्ड्स को बढ़ावा, ये सारे कदम विकसित भारत की यात्रा की गति को और तेज करेंगे। साथियों, किसी भी देश की सबसे बड़ी पूंजी उसके नागरिक होते हैं। बीते वर्षों में हमारी सरकार ने देश के नागरिकों के सामर्थ्य को बढ़ाने पर अभूतपूर्व निवेश किया है। हमारा प्रयास स्किल, स्केल और सस्टेनेबिलिटी को निरंतर बल देने का रहा है। जैसा कि आज पार्लियामेंट में निर्मला जी ने कहा है, यह युवा शक्ति बजट है। उसमें युवा की सोच भी है, युवा के सपने भी हैं, युवा का संकल्प भी है और साथ साथ युवा की गति भी है। बजट में जो प्रावधान किए गए हैं, उससे अलग अलग सेक्टर्स में लीडर्स, इनोवेटर्स और क्रिएटर्स तैयार होंगे। मेडिकल हब्स के निर्माण से, एलाइड हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल्स के माध्यम से, ऑरेंज इकोनॉमी यानी ऑडियो विजुअल गेमिंग को बढ़ावा देकर, पर्यटन को प्रोत्साहन देकर और खेलो इंडिया मिशन के माध्यम से युवाओं के लिए नए अवसरों के द्वार खुलेंगे। भारत को दुनिया का डेटा सेंटर हब बनाने के लिए टैक्स में बड़ी छूट की घोषणा भी की गई है। मैं भारत के युवाओं को विशेष तौर पर इस बजट की बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, क्योंकि इससे एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन को बड़ा बूस्ट मिलेगा। मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि इस बजट में टूरिज्म और विशेषकर नॉर्थ ईस्ट में टूरिज्म को बढ़ावा देने के लिए भी ठोस कदम उठाए गए हैं। भारत के अलग अलग राज्यों को ताकतवर बनाकर संतुलित विकास की नींव भी इस बजट में मजबूत की गई है। साथियों, हमारे देश में 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा महिलाएं सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप से जुड़ी हैं और बड़ा सफल अभियान रहा है। महिलाओं द्वारा निर्मित, महिलाओं द्वारा संचालित सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स का आधुनिक इकोसिस्टम बने, बजट में इसे प्राथमिकता दी गई है। कोशिश यही है कि हर घर लक्ष्मी जी पधारे। हर जिले में छात्राओं के लिए नए हॉस्टल बनाने का अभियान भी शिक्षा को सुलभ बनाएगा। साथियों, भारत की कृषि, डेयरी सेक्टर, फिशरीज, इन्हें हमारी सरकार ने हमेशा सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता दी है। इस बजट में भी नारियल, काजू, कोको और चंदन की पैदावार से जुड़े किसानों के लिए अनेक अहम कदम उठाए गए हैं। भारत विस्तार एआई इस टूल से किसानों को उनकी भाषा में जानकारी मिलने से उन्हें बहुत मदद मिलेगी। फिशरीज और पशुपालन में उद्यमिता उसको बढ़ावा देने से गांव में ही रोजगार और स्वरोजगार के और ज्यादा अवसर बनेंगे। साथियों, ये बजट एम्बिशियस भी है और ये बजट देश की एस्पिरेशन को भी एड्रेस करता है। मैं एक बार फिर निर्मला जी और उनकी पूरी टीम को इस फ्यूचरिस्टिक बजट के लिए, संवेदनशील बजट के लिए, गांव, गरीब, किसान का कल्याण करने वाले बजट के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Those were Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks after Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented the Union Budget for 26-27. In his address, Prime Minister hailed the budget, particularly focusing on youth and women power, several provisions to focus on both these demographies. 2047 Viksit Bharat, Developed India Vision, is also something this budget articulates and creates a more clearer roadmap. In that sense, Amrit, there is a focus on emerging technologies and the manner in which India's own potential could be harnessed. There are rare earth mineral corridors that have been envisioned. There is also focus on biopharma and improving the freight corridors and logistics. Some of the highlights of Prime Minister's address, and he says skill, scale and sustainability is the larger agenda of the budget.
Exactly, Shumendu, and he said it's a budget for Viksit Bharat, or developed India. As Shumendu said, the focus, he said, is on Yuva Shakti, or focusing on the youth, building infrastructure, be it rail corridors, be it development of tier 2 and tier 3 cities, be it the 7 new rail corridors, the 5 inland waterways that will be developed, the dedicated freight corridors that she's spoken about, of course the rare earth minerals corridor. Giving a big push to the semiconductor sector, 40,000 crores marked for a push to semiconductor, training the youth for skilling them in audiovisual, gaming, etc. A panel to look at how AI can impact the services sector, trying to make India a big service sector economy.
That's right. Amrit, both the Finance Minister and the Prime Minister refer to the term Reform Express, basically an organic coming together of reforms in diverse sectors to propel India's economy. And Prime Minister said that being the largest growing fastest growing large economy is not enough. Now India seeks that number 3 position, the world's 3rd largest economy. Those were some of the highlights of Prime Minister's remarks just after Finance Minister presented the Union Budget. Let's now look at some of the updates that have been coming in on the budget. India's Finance Minister presented the Union Budget for 2026-27 in the Parliament. In a speech, Minister Sitharaman said that the aim is to transform aspiration into achievement and potential into performance, as India ensures that dividends of growth reach every section of society. She termed it as a Yuva Shakti-driven budget.
Absolutely.
Our aim is to transform aspiration into achievement and potential into performance, as we ensure that the dividends of growth reach every farmer, the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribes, the nomads, the youth, the poor and the women. In Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue 2026, several innovative ideas were shared with our Prime Minister, which have inspired many of the proposals, making this a unique Yuva Shakti-driven budget.
And calling this the first budget prepared at the Kartavya Bhavan, the Finance Minister said that the government is drawing inspiration from 3 core kartavyas, or kartavya is duty, right? Duties aimed at strengthening India's economic and social foundations amid global uncertainty.
We are inspired by three kartavya. Our first kartavya is to accelerate and sustain economic growth by enhancing productivity and competitiveness and building resilience to volatile global dynamics. Our second kartavya is to fulfill aspirations of our people and build their capacity, making them strong partners in India's path to prosperity. Our third kartavya, aligned with our vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, is to ensure that every family, community, region, and sector has access to resources, amenities, and opportunities for meaningful participation.
And Minister Sitharaman also announced 3 new chemical parks to boost domestic manufacturing and cut import dependence.
To enhance domestic chemical production and reduction import.
और हमारा जो लोग हैं, हमारे युवा युवती हैं, उनको आधुनिक दृष्टिकोण से तैयार करना, रीस्किल करना, रीट्रेन करना, जिससे वो आगे चल के आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी को इस्तेमाल करते हुए देश को तेज गति से आगे बढ़ाएं। टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र को भी एक अहम प्राथमिकता दी गई है इस बजट में। स्पोर्ट्स हो, एजुकेशन हो, मैं समझता हूं इतना व्यापक प्रभाव शायद ही कभी हमने बजट में देखा है। ये बजट देश को आगे चल के 22 साल के इस अमृत काल में कैसे तेजी से हमने सबने मिलके सभी का साथ, सभी का विकास के मंत्र को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए काम करना है, उसका एक रोड मैप देने का काम करता है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सर, विपक्ष कह रहा है इसमें जनता के लिए।
And Finance Minister Shumendu, as you were saying, announced 3 new chemical parks to boost domestic manufacturing and cut import dependence.
To enhance domestic chemical production and reduction import dependency and reduce import dependency, we will launch a scheme to support states in establishing 3 dedicated chemical parks through challenge route on a cluster-based plug-and-play model.
Finance Minister, in a speech, also proposed the setting up of Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative to strengthen khadi, handloom and handicraft, aiming to boost rural livelihoods, manufacturing and self-reliance.
I propose to launch the Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative to strengthen khadi, handloom and handicrafts. This will help in global market linkage and branding. It will streamline and support training, skilling, quality of process and production. This will benefit our weavers, village industries, one district, one product, ODOP initiative, and also our rural youth.
And outlining a 6-step strategy to accelerate long-term economic growth, the Finance Minister highlighted scaling up manufacturing in 7 strategic sectors, reviving legacy industries, creating champion MSMEs, pushing infrastructure development, ensuring economic security and stability, and building city-based economic regions as engines of growth.
Under our first kartavya, to accelerate and sustain economic growth, I propose interventions in 6 areas. 1. Scaling up manufacturing in 7 strategic and frontier sectors. 2. Rejuvenating legacy industrial sectors. 3. Creating champion MSMEs. 4. Delivering a powerful push for infrastructure. 5. Ensuring long-term security and stability. And 6. Developing city economic regions.
And we're reflecting on the highlights of the big announcements made in the Union Budget for 26-27. We'll take you through some of the key elements that were announced, particularly in the biopharmaceuticals domain. Biopharma Shakti, 10,000 crore rupees allocation the next 5 years. Domestic production of biologics and biosimilars create a network of about 1,000 accredited India clinical trial sites. Again, this is to also curb imports in the domain and boost self-reliance in biopharmaceuticals.
Okay, if we look at the semiconductor sector now, launch of India Semiconductor Mission 2.0 with an outlay of 40,000 crore rupees. This is to produce equipment and of materials, design, full stack Indian IP and fortify supply chains. And there is 10,000 crore rupees allocated over the next 5 years under the Semiconductor Shakti initiative.
That's right. Emerging technologies, semiconductors in focus. Let's now turn to the manner in which rare earth also finds focus in the budget. 4 mineral-rich states to establish dedicated rare earth corridor in the country. This is to promote mining, processing, research and manufacturing of processed rare earth minerals to enhance domestic chemical production and reduction in import dependency. These minerals also play a key role in emerging technologies such as semiconductor manufacturing. In that sense, self-reliance also in the domain of emerging technologies. Let's now from rare earth turn to manufacturing.
Okay, in the manufacturing, to boost manufacturing, a new scheme to promote container manufacturing one. There is an allocation done there for 10,000 crore rupees spread over the next 5 years. And it aims at building a globally competitive ecosystem. So this is what the few of the initiatives that the budget proposes for the manufacturing sector to promote manufacturing.
From manufacturing to textile, important labor-intensive textile sector, an integrated program has been proposed. A national fiber scheme for self-reliance in natural fibers, textile expansion and employment scheme to modernize traditional ecosystems of textile.
Okay, if we look at the railway sector now, 7 high-speed rail corridors have been announced, of course, to boost infrastructure and connectivity. This will link India's financial hubs, tech centers, manufacturing clusters and emerging cities. This is along, connecting it with the multimodal network system that connects the inland waterways, etc.
And turning to smaller, medium, medium enterprises, MSMEs, equity support via 10,000 crore rupees. SME Growth Fund, also top-up facilities also announced, liquidity support via TREDS platform. Professional institutes to train corporate mitras will act as agent to empower and support smaller businesses in Tier 2, Tier 3 towns. From smaller businesses to the health sector now.
That's right. In health sector, 5 regional medical hubs will be established to promote medical tourism. 1.5 lakh caregivers will be trained. This is what the budget proposes. Also, it talks about, bringing about 10,000 allied health professionals over the next 5 years. And 3 new All India Institutes of Ayurveda will be established.
From health to education, setting up of education to employment and enterprise standing committee for job creation, committee to focus on services sector as a core driver of Viksit Bharat and how more opportunities could be created in that domain. The idea that services sector it leads the Indian economy with over 50% contribution in the GDP. We are looking at the announcement in the education sector. Education to employment committees are going to help youth find employment so that vocational training and other such activities can be in focus. All right. Our colleague Mark Lynn is joining us now with more updates and insights into the union budget. Mark, over to you.
Some of the, let's touch with on the key priorities, because you've been focusing on the major highlights of the budget for a long time. And we can see that obviously agriculture is a priority for any budget, and this budget too. But here the aim is to increase productivity, increase farmers' income, double the farmers' income. How are they going to go about this? Promoting high-value agriculture. In the coastal areas, the focus on coastal products like or crops like coconuts. And then in some other areas, you can see that which are suitable to develop crops like cashew, cocoa, self-reliance crops in those areas. And then there is also in the northeast, we can see that they're going to focus on promoting crops like almonds and things that some of the nuts that are pine nuts, walnuts, things that can actually get very good prices in the international market. So that's looking at agriculture. Then, of course, employment and skills training. One can clearly see that there's plenty of focus on upskilling, especially in this AI age. So people need to generate jobs. 1.5 lakh caregivers to be trained, because obviously people would be needing a focus on on looking after people who are either having problems related to age or mental health and all these other aspects, because this particular segment needs to be developed and looked at. Then there is scaling up of veterinary professionals, another area that we have a significant shortage, and now we are trying to look at increasing them by more than 20,000 in this particular budget. So importance on these kind of sectors. Then there is inclusive human resource development and social justice. There's an additional 100,000 allied health professionals over the next 5 years. So healthcare important, moving out into various areas other than the traditional areas where we look at doctor, nurse and things like that. These allied health professionals are important, especially in the Ayush area. That's another area where there's plenty of focus that this budget is giving. And then there is the audiovisual segment, which is a content creation. We are living in the age of streaming, and we can find that a lot of important content is available for streamers, and where you can see that the Creator Labs, 15,000 secondary schools and 500 colleges, because content will be generated for the next generation. This is a youth-focused budget, one must remember, from these areas. Let's move on to another aspect, manufacturing. We did remember that the Chief Economic Advisor in the Economic Survey talked that manufacturing is necessary to be increased, because services are already strong in our economy, and it is services that are doing the heavy lifting currently. Manufacturing will need to do the heavy lifting also over a period of time if India's rupee value has to go up, because only then can we start exporting more significantly. So scaling up of manufacturing in 7 strategic and frontier sectors, and those sectors would be in critical, using critical technologies. And there's the introduction of a dedicated 10,000 crore rupee SME fund. So this is in the area of small and medium enterprises. We could go on, but perhaps we'll focus on other things a little while later. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thank you, Mark, for those updates. Let's now bring in a special guest who are joining us to take forward the conversation.
Dr. Nilanjan Banik, he's a senior economist. He joins us over the video link, and also Prasoon Sharma, he's founder and CEO of WUS, or WUS, which is a semiconductor-based solutions. Both gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show. First to you, Dr. Banik, how do you look at the budget, its highlights? Where is it strong? What do you think the budget could have done more?
See, it is the budget has put emphasis on all the long-term factors, factors that would kind of make the Indian economy's growth much more resilient. For instance, if you look into the allocation to the capital expenditure, in terms of building more freightways, in terms of building more, trying to connect all the river across our countries, in terms of building more roadways, or for that matter, building high-speed network of railways. Now, these are all great things to have. The thing is, the cost of doing business is going to come down because you are trying to connect the interior hinterland of India to the ports and airports, which are primarily located in major metropolitan cities. So that is one part I like about the budget, because the multiplier effect of such capital expenditure, which even 10 years back used to be in the region of 3 to 4 lakh crore of rupees. Now it has been increased to almost 12.2 lakh crores of rupees. The multiplier effect of this is going to be huge, in the sense that some estimates suggest that the multiplier effect of investing in capital expenditure is close to 2.5, which means if you're spending $100 units of goods and services, that eventually lead to $250 of worth of output being produced in the economy. So that is the first part which I liked about the budget. The second thing which I liked is the emphasis on trying to make Indian economy much more resilient on some of the product that we are import dependent. For instance, electronic items, for instance, active pharmaceutical products. Now, we have seen at the time of COVID how much we are dependent on China when it comes to API or active pharmaceutical product. So now that Finance Minister is putting some money for manufacturing active pharmaceutical ingredients in India, that is a welcome move. The other thing which I liked about the budget, and where there is enough of space, is trying to put emphasis on our tourism sector, be it medical tourism, be it tourism in other parts of India. Now, you should note, just to give some numbers, if I'm looking into some of the European countries, for instance, France or Spain or Italy, there the footfall of tourists per year is in the region of 90 to 100 million tourists coming to those countries. Now, each one of these countries are actually, in terms of their size, less than the size of some of our states in India.
True.
Now, if I compare those footfalls compared to the number of tourists which comes to India, it's only 10 million. So there is a big space when it comes to expand our tourism sector. And the best part of the tourism sector is it is going to also create jobs, which does not require that much skill. Only a little bit of training will help to. And I think I heard the finance minister saying that she is going to put some fund to train the so-called government designated guides who can be helpful for the organic growth of the tourism sector. Also, you find that the cost of medical is one of the least in the world. So giving more emphasis on medical tourism will also help India to get more foreign exchange reserve. Because right now, one of the worrying point is our exchange rate is kind of falling. So therefore, what are the other alternatives? So some of the alternatives that finance minister have taken, I think is welcome move in terms of reducing our import dependence. So she is also talking about how to ensure that we also start manufacturing rare minerals, which is got huge application, be it electric vehicles, be it dental surgery, be it aeronautics. We have also heard her saying that a certain section of the money will be allocated to building the data center. I think what she promised is, she's saying that if the foreign companies are coming and setting up data centers in India, they will not be asked to pay any tax. So that's a great move.
Till 2047, yes.
Yeah, so that is a great initiative, because right now what this is suggesting, she is also forward-looking in that way, trying to give more emphasis on data and the AI type of activities that is going to happen. So overall, there may be some kind of, if I'm looking into the market, there is some kind of market actually thought that some tweaking around with the long-term capital gain tax as well as the short-term capital gain tax will be addressed at this budget. But that was in keeping in mind the falling value of Indian rupees.
Right.
But apart from that, I see the budget has delivered what it needs to be.
Right. Mr. Prashan Sharma, if I can come to you, there was a lot of anticipation around investment in emerging technologies, semiconductors. How satisfied are you with the announcement of Semiconductor Mission 2.0, electronic components manufacturing scheme, and some 40,000 crore being allocated over the coming years?
Yeah, this budget decisively elevates India's tech and manufacturing agenda by launching India's Semiconductor Mission 2.0 and also giving 40,000 crores outlay for PLI for electronic manufacturing. And the one point which the previous speaker also highlighted is new tax incentives for cloud infrastructure, which is where we see a big gap, like India is producing around 20 percentage of global data, but the storage capacity is less than or equal to 3% of global data storage. That will address that, but it also comes with some ground requirements. To establish such big data centers, you need power and accessibility of internet and other things. So that also will boost the internet and basic services businesses and MSMEs. And also it will also elevate the startups in AI domain because they can get cloud infrastructure easier and in good pricing. And for startups also, there is a continuation of funds, which will help them to grow in tech sector specifically. And I think there is a realignment in PLI for MSMEs more than the big electronic manufacturers. That we have to wait and watch how this will benefit MSMEs, specifically in electronic manufacturing and semiconductors.
Just that point about the tax holiday till 2047, 100 years of India's independence that year, for cloud services with data centers in India. If you could also simplify why is it important, because we've been trying to understand the concept of sovereign AI, that self-reliance in the entire ecosystem of AI is also significant going forward.
Yes, for AI, the oil is data, and only 2 countries in the world is data producing, which 1 billion plus population, that is China and India. So all AI algorithms depend on this data. India is a rich source of that data, but we were not storing or keeping our data, which is, when we say our data, it's our health data, our language or cultural data, and how we use that data should be placed in our geographical region, which can benefit a lot. Like one example is our CoWIN app, how we distributed the vaccination, what will be the result. That helps specifically like medical sector to generate new ideas or new vaccines. Similarly, in tech ecosystem also, when we use UPI and we see the transaction behaviors of our customers, that gives a lot of inputs, whether it's cyber security, how our customers are spending and what services they are spending. So this also gives a responsibility to the tech enablers to keep this data in geographical location that you said, sovereignty of our own data, which definitely helps a lot for developing our own solutions like based on UPI, CoWIN and Aadhaar. There are many startups or applications has been developed, and it will be scaled globally.
All right, I'll request both gentlemen to stay on, Dr. Banik and Prasoon. But let's take a look at this report, our next report, which looks at what the budget proposes to do, especially in terms of harnessing technology, artificial intelligence to drive growth, jobs and exports. Rahul Upadhyay brings us this report.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Sunday announced the formation of a new committee, Education to Employment and Enterprises E2E Standard Committee, to review the impact of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence on India's services sector. The panel will recommend measures to unlock the full potential of the services sector as part of the broader Viksit Bharat vision.
Emerging technologies including AI. 21st century is technology-driven. Adoption of technology is for the benefit of all people. Farmers in the field, women in STEM, youth keen to upskill, and Divyangjan to access newer opportunities. The government has taken several steps to support new technologies through AI Mission, National Quantum Mission, Anusandhan National Research Fund and Research and Development and Innovation Fund.
The committee will work towards making India a global leader in services with a target of achieving a 10% share of global services exports by 2047. It will identify priority areas to maximize growth, employment, and export opportunities in the sector. The committee will also assess the impact of emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, on jobs and skill requirements and propose measures to prepare India's workforce for the future. Sitharaman highlighted that the government has already taken significant steps to support innovation, citing initiatives such as the India AI Mission, the National Quantum Mission, the Anusandhan National Research Fund, and the Research Development and Innovation Fund. With this renewed focus on technology and services, the Union Budget 2026-27 aims to position India as a global powerhouse in the decades ahead. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
And we continue our conversation with our guest on the key takeaways of the Union Budget. Dr. Nilanjan Banik and Prasun Sharma continue to be with us. Prasunji, another sector which finds unique focus in the budget for orange economy, the AVGC sector, brings together the potential of the youth and also technology in many ways. Content creation gets it got an official note long back, but now an infrastructure is also coming up. And it's not a small one. Around 15,000 secondary schools and colleges will have infrastructure to help with content creation in its ecosystem. How do you see it?
That will change and also include our regional languages and content as well. And this will empower the voices of our tier 3 or I would say rural India also, because they can create content relative to their concerns or cultures or ongoing challenges, whether it's farming, whether it's connectivity, or how they are seeing other aspect of the life. So it will improve. And I think recently Ministry of Broadcasting also signed an MOU with IIT Delhi for boosting startup or innovation in this sector as well. So there is a philanthropic initiatives by Government of India in this initiative also. And it will also enhance our cultural linkage with this digital world and ecosystem. And that will also enable our rural India to learn about technologies in their own languages and passing content related to, cyber security, educating them with the various aspects of their lives, which is impacting, whether it's MSME, like small things in Bengali or Hindi, they can learn how to file, export license in Germany. When we are, also talking about FTAs with different countries, how they can sell or, export their products. So this, the digital trail or rail which India government has built will enable all these content creators to connect with e-commerce as well, cultural aspect as well, and their personal growth as well.
Thank you, Prasun, both Prasun and Dr. Banik. I request you to stay on. Let's look at another sector, the proposals for another sector, the agriculture sector. What the budget proposes to do for the agriculture sector. Well, one, there is a support for high-value agriculture with a focus on diversifying farm output, enhancing the productivity and the income of farmers, support for high-value crops. Now, if you look at the farm output or the high-value, crops, there is support for producing coconuts, cashews, cocoa and sandalwood, especially in the coastal areas and coastal trees, for support for the agar tress in the northeast, and nuts such as almonds, walnuts, pine nuts in the hilly regions. Coconut promotion scheme proposals are proposed in major coconut producing states. There is a dedicated program proposed for promotion of Indian cashew and Indian cocoa. Well, this will increase their premium brand value by 2030, focused on cultivation and post-harvest. Then there is processing of the Indian sandalwood. in rejuvenating old low-yielding orchards of walnuts, almonds, pine nuts by engaging with the youth. Okay, I want to come back. Okay, let's look at the fisheries sector. Well, in the fisheries sector, there is an initiative for integrated development of 500 reservoirs of Amrit Sarovars. The idea is to strengthen the value chain in coastal areas and enable market linkages. Well, the fish caught in exclusive economic zone and high seas by Indian fishing vessels to be treated as duty-free as exports when brought into the ports. Okay. Let's look at animal husbandry. What are the proposals in this particular sector? Animal husbandry credit-linked subsidy program is proposed. Enhanced creation of livestock, dairy, poultry focused value chain will be set up. Okay, Dr. Banik and Nilanjan Banik, senior economist, and Prasoon Sharma continue to join us. Dr. Banik, let me come to you. While the government's given a lot of focus on, say, boosting infrastructure, especially in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, there is a focus on youth. We put out what the Nirmala Sitharaman's budget proposals for the agriculture sector are, but some, or at least to me, it seems the focus on agriculture, one, and second, on the informal sector seems to be a bit wanting here.
Absolutely, because if I'm looking into the agricultural sector, and if you look into the type of crops on which the government is trying to improve productivity, these are all high-valued crop items. For instance, almond, for instance, coconut, for instance, jute, things like that. One thing I want to mention, in case of India, almost 83% of our farming population, 83% in total, if you look into the number of people dependent on agricultural and allied activities, that would be close to 400 million odd people. Now, out of that, 83% are small and marginal farmers with less than 1 hectare of land holding size. Now, given the climate change kind of thing which is happening, and last year we also have seen these occasional cyclones, how come they are actually leading to the erosion of soil fertility. And therefore, it is absolutely necessary when you are trying to see that whether crops like coconut and other edible oils, their productivity is we can increase the productivity. Because if I'm looking into the overall agricultural productivity and compare that with European Union, or for that matter, even China, or for that matter, US, our yield is only 30 to 40% of the yield that we have noticed in case of developed countries and China. And therefore, it is absolutely necessary, given the farmers are small and marginal farmers, as to try out and find ways how we can improve the income for the small and marginal farmers. The other point I want to make is for the MSME sector. Now, out of 400
but before we go to the MSME sector, another point that comes to my mind, especially when given the fact that there is a lot of debate about pollution due to stubble burning, etc. Now, say if a large part of your farmer is small and medium farmer, perhaps the budget could have put in more proposals for hand holding in terms of mitigating the effects and helping them to come out with the stubble burning, etc.
The stubble burning issue that you were mentioning is kind of concentrated in some of the northern states, in particular Punjab, Haryana, and UP, and that happens only during post the Kharif season. Now, the point I wanted to make, and which I already said, is Finance Minister is not talking about this other type of crops which are basically responsible for the